What if I told you that inventory in the Kelowna real estate market is nearing the highest it's been in almost a decade? You'd probably expect prices to be falling fast, right? Well, that's kind of what happened. Single family home prices dipped about $10,000 and townhomes dropped over $15,000 in 1 month. So are we seeing the start of a correction or the early signs of a market crash? In this video, I'm breaking down what's really happening in the Kelowna real estate market right now. We'll look at price trends for single-family homes, townhomes, and condos, and what they could mean moving forward. And stick around until the end because I'll answer this question. With this much inventory, is Kelowna still in a buyer's market? Or are things starting to shift? Sales in the Kelowna area so far in 2025 are higher year to date than they were in 2024. But as we'll see in a minute, that's not really saying much, as the market was pretty slow last year. Still, the market's picking up from where it was 12 months ago, but how does it stack up to the market over the last decade? Let's take a look. So far in 2025, each month has had more sales than we had in 2023, except in April we had the exact same number of sales as we had this time last year. You can see that 2025 is pacing a little bit better than last year, but down slightly from where we were in 2023. But as I mentioned earlier, that really doesn't tell the whole picture, because if we go out over the last decade, year-to-date sales in 2025 are some of the lowest we've seen over the past 10 years. The lowest mark was in the pandemic year of 2020, which in the spring the world basically came to a halt. And if we look at the sales for the month of April over the last decade, yes, we had the same number of sales as we did last year, but last year was the second fewest number of sales that we had in the month of April over the last decade. And if we look at inventory, it continues to grow as we're currently 13% higher than we were this time last year and almost at the highest point that we reached in 2024. This month I wanted to take a deeper dive into the inventory levels in each of these subcategories of inventory, which is condos, townhomes, and single-family homes. Starting with condos, the inventory in April hit about 900 units available for sale. And keep in mind that this is what's on the MLS. This isn't also that shadow inventory that developers may be sitting on. 900 units listed on the market is significantly higher than we've had any time over the last decade, and inventory levels have continued to grow since they bottomed out in April of 2022. And in the townhome market, we hit about 450 available units on the market in April, which is higher than it's been in any other April over the last decade as well. The additional inventory that we're showing in single-family homes isn't as significant as it is in, say, the condo market, but it is still about 200 units higher than it was at the highest point over the last decade, and this is giving buyers a lot of choice when they're out there looking for their next property. But before we move on to the rest of the market and the benchmark prices, I'm Tyrell Boake, a realtor in Kelowna, and on this channel, I help you navigate the real estate market and provide you with useful information so you can make informed decisions that make sense for you. If you get any value out of this type of content, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss out on future videos. And whenever you're ready to talk about buying or selling your next home, you can book a call with me at the link down in the description. For the first time in quite a few months, the benchmark price in April was down from the previous month. It came down about 1.2% to come in at $1,034,000. This is down from $1,046,000 from the month before. However, that price is up 2.4% from where we were this time last year. If we look at the benchmark price graph of a single-family detached home over the last 3 years, the price is down 12.3% from the market peak in March of 2022, but we're 3 years removed from that market peak now. The price had been increasing since October 2024, but we've seen a 1-month correction where the price came down about 1%. This is not enough data to determine if this is a new trend, but if that price comes down again for a second month, we could argue that prices are starting to trend downward again. Still, the market is up from where it was when the market bottomed out at the end of 2023. Going out over the last decade, the benchmark price in Kelowna has doubled since April 2015. Moving on to the benchmark price of a townhome, this price was also down 2.1% from the previous month and came in at $734,000. This price also remains relatively unchanged from where we were at this time last year. But if we look at the graph of the benchmark price of townhomes over the last 3 years, you can see there's been a lot of volatility in this market. We are down from where that market peak was 3 years ago, about $100,000, but it is up $30,000 from where the market bottomed out in January of 2024. This market continues to be volatile, and it's really hard to predict what's going on here. But as the inventory starts to grow, if sales don't start to keep up with that rising inventory, we could see more downward pressure on prices in the townhome market. But going out over the last 10 years, just like single-family homes, the price of a townhome has doubled over a decade. Surprisingly, in the condo market, the benchmark price went up 1.7% from March to April and came in at $513,000. And since the same time last year, that price is up 2.1%. Taking a look at the graph over the last 3 years, you can see that we are down $40,000 from the market peak, but we are up $40,000 from where prices bottomed out in December of 2024. Condo prices trended upwards significantly for 1 month, came down for 2 months, and now it's gone back up a little bit in April. There might be a resistance point there for the benchmark price of condos around $500,000, but since there's so much inventory here, I think there's going to be more pressure on these prices to come down. Again, though, going out over the last 10 years, the price of a condo in Kelowna has more than doubled over the last decade. I do like to take a look at the composite benchmark price because this gives us an idea of what the market is doing as a whole. You can see that we're 3 years removed from that market peak, but the composite price is down about $110,000 from that market peak. However, when the market bottomed out more recently in December 2023, January 2024, prices are up $40,000 from that time. It had been trending upwards over the last 6 months, but that correction or decline that we saw in April could be the start of a new trend, especially with all the inventory that we have. All that being said, the homes that are selling for around 97% of the list price. So even though there's a lot of inventory out there to choose from, if you're a buyer in this market, the homes that are selling for relatively close to the asking price. So when you find something that you like and it's in good shape and it's in a good neighborhood, don't expect to be able to lowball that property and get a significant discount off the list price. Sellers are still sticking with their price because they know that they've got a good product in a good location. Taking a look at months of inventory, in the single-family detached home market, I was a little surprised to see the months of inventory go from 9.1 months in March down to 7.1 months in April. With inventory rising, you would think that the months of inventory would also increase, but the number of sales is also up, and that's what's bringing that months of inventory down to about 7. Remember, around 5 months of inventory is basically a balanced market. So we're still in a buyer's market in the single family detached home category, but we're getting closer to a balanced market. This is something that we'll have to keep an eye on. But because months of inventory is in buyer's market territory, that's why there was a decline in prices in the single family home category last month, and there's still pressure on prices to come down a little bit, or at least soften. The same can be said in the townhome market. It's relatively unchanged from the month before, and we are just between a balance and a buyer's market, but we are still in a buyer's market. And in the condo market, with that rising inventory and fewer sales, the months of inventory increased marginally from the month before, and we're firmly in a buyer's market in the condo market. This could be another reason why there's downward pressure on prices. The Kelowna real estate market has been firmly in a buyer's market for well over a year, and inventory continues to rise. This should put downward pressure on prices, and it softened the price in both single-family homes and townhomes in April. We aren't in a market correction or crash territory quite yet, but we need to watch what happens to prices in May to see if there are some emerging trends. If you're a buyer in this market, it could be a great time to buy with lower interest rates and a lot of inventory to choose from. I know, big surprise coming from a realtor, but I truly believe there are a lot of opportunities out there for a lot of buyers, but not necessarily everyone. Comment below if you think this year will be a good time to buy or not. And if you'd like to talk about your next move and see if it's the right time for you, click the link down in the description to book a call. And if you'd like to see what's going on in the rest of the Canadian real estate market, check out this playlist right here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.